Hey, Jack, Catherine. I'm sure you saw Genevieve's note. She can't make it today. Jill is still recovering from Jill's adventures, so it's just us. Um, let's go ahead and do HUNYUAN Qigong again. In fact, let's look at instead of doing the whole sequence. Let's look at section 5, circulation. We started there. I've got 5 exercises listed there, and we did the first one yesterday, which is 3 Dan Chens open and close. Let's do that again, and then let's do the other 4. And during the you actually know most of the rest of the moves in the form here, but we'll spend the rest of the week and go over there, and then whenever we get done, we'll do one sequence where we go through everything, and I'll shut up and we'll just do it. We'll just practice. But what I want is for you guys to feel comfortable with this whole routine. So any one of you could lead this routine and just mentally. You can't do the whole routine because it would take an hour and a half to do. So you have to pick and choose. But you pick and choose the exercises that you like and that you feel go well together. Um, I really like the circulation exercises. I think they're very, very good for you. So we'll do number 7, 3 Dan Chens open and close. Number 8, single and double leg, ascending and descending. That exercise is really good for you. Belt meridian grinding, the grindstone, we do that all the time every morning anyway. Heaven and earth open and close is one we don't do very frequently, but it's an important and very common exercise. And then rebalancing the chi left and right is one that we've done a couple of times, but not very often. And we'll spend the others. I think you pretty well know. I can say a few things about them. But especially rebalancing chi left and right, I'll talk a little bit about that. So let's start with the first exercise. to put my costume on. So when we do these, when you practice these, it's just my advice. When you practice these, hold the mindset that you're learning to teach this. Because for two reasons. One, you may, and teaching is a whole nother art. But also it will make you focus on this in a slightly different way. So suppose you were teaching this particular routine. Let me tell you what's going to happen. The people that are taking the class from you will do about 20 to 30% of whatever it is you're doing. So if you're opening, closing, they're going to go like this. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Suppose you were teaching golf, and you're trying to teach someone a good golf swing. You're going to demonstrate at 100%, maybe 110%. They're not going to do it at 100%. They're going to do it at 30%. Even experienced golfers will only do it at 30%. But beginners for sure are going to do it that way. If you just demonstrate at 30%, then they're going to do 30% of 30%. So you've got to demonstrate at 100%. You've got to demonstrate a little more loudly than you might practice on your own. Because you know what it is you're doing. So you can practice very quietly and still get 100% practice. But you can't teach that way, because they're only going to see a third of what it is you're actually doing. So you have to exaggerate it a little bit. So let's do it again. I swear to God, guys, you got to get some tape. Get some blue tape and red tape and tape yourself up and watch yourself in the mirror. All right? All right? Fire up the Qigong. Open, open, open. Now sink down the back to the Dan Chin, the Ming Man. Open, open, open. So if I were teaching this move to absolute beginners, I wouldn't start with the upper position. Because when you start with the upper position, they don't have the experience to interpret it. Because all three of these positions, the upper, the middle, and the lower position, start at that position, but they all end up here. So I would start with the middle position and let them get that idea. And then you can say, okay, now that's the middle position. Hopefully you've got in your head, open, close as you return to that position. Open, close. All right? And in this class, we're going to do this really big, not hyperextended, but big. All right? When you do your own practice, it can be more subtle. But you already know, even though your physical motion is relatively calm, inside you should be opening all the way. Open. Close. All right, once they get that idea, then you could go to the upper register and open. Now, when you close, your hands are still going to close in the front, but you still have to sink down to your dantian, especially the Mingman and back. I should put my Tanzhong on too. So do you guys find my tape helpful? Is it helpful? Does it help you get the idea? Good.
Yes, and it's very attractive.
Well, I mean, that's why I wear it, right? Because it's cool. But this really is what's going on, is you're essentially moving between these points, or the lower point in this point, and you're opening the Tanzhong, and now you're closing into the dantian. Even though the hands in this case are not going down here, but your mind is. The other point I would emphasize, if I was doing a little, essentially we do these little mini workshops in our classes, but if I was giving a workshop in this, I would take them to the next level too, and talk about spiraling, because without the spiral, you're not going to really get the feel of this, right? When you're opening and closing, everything in the body is spiraling. Open, 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 and then spiral shut, spiral open, spiral shut. A couple things that can help you get this spiral is, one is shift your weight when you do this. Open. You're on your right leg. You could do it like this. But it's easier just to shift your weight. The other thing is your breathing. I've said this a million times. Grandmaster Feng would always say, just breathe naturally. All right? Because this is a more advanced thing. It seems like it ought to be very simple, but people end up spending so much mental effort thinking about their breathing that they get in their own way. They trip over their own breathing. So I understand what he was saying, but it is such an integral part of what you're doing with this that, well, I just don't do it that way. All right? Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And then as you roll closed, relax and breathe out. And you can feel as you open like this, you can feel how this part of the body between the pelvic diaphragm and the thoracic diaphragm contracts slightly. It's just natural. Of course it's going to contract a little bit. All right? And now you relax it. Well, this is just relaxes. All right? I'm not pulling it in, I'm just relaxing it, letting it be natural. Shift your weight. So something I've mentioned in the past, but we haven't gone into great detail about it. It's called packing. Just you're packing your body full of oxygen and full of chi. This is a circulation exercise, but when you add the deep breathing technique in, it also becomes a gathering exercise. And packing is something you primarily do when you're gathering new chi into the body, but also when you're circulating. So what you do, let's just look at it from the circulation point of view. What you do you're circulating energy through the body, all right, all the way out to the skin, and then back into the central column, all right, and even the danchan itself. Out and in. All right, feel your body. As you feel your body, you're going to notice that some parts of the body feel strong, all right, and very present. Other parts of the body feel not quite so strong and maybe not quite so present. So what you do is you take a little of your chi and you push it, you pack it into those parts of the body that are feeling a little weaker than other parts of the body. So it's like you're gardening. You've got this nice big vegetable garden out there. Oh, but things are doing really well over here, but they don't look quite as good over here. So this area over here needs maybe a little more fertilizer and maybe a little extra water. That's packing. You just pay attention to what's going on and you feed those areas that need a little more. So try that. Feel inside the body. So how you do this you really sort of, it helps a lot to be practicing the deep breathing technique to do this. When you're practicing the deep breathing technique, first you're breathing in. All right, well, you're not packing while you're breathing in. You're just breathing energy in, right? And then as you exhale, that's when you go, oh, okay, my left shoulder blade needs a little attention. So I'm going to draw energy into the body. Oh, and now I'm going to pack it into my left shoulder blade, or at least some of it into my left shoulder blade. So I'm going to tell you guys a little story. Every morning before class, all right, I take a shower. And I have a long-handled nylon bristle brush, and it's pretty stiff. And I scrub my whole body down with that bristle brush. I don't use soap. I just scrub my body with that bristle brush. And I'm sure a lot of people would not like it because I'm pretty rough, right? But over the years, I've developed very thick skin. And every morning, what I notice is that and it changes from day to day, I have subliminal itching going on. So the back of my calf, the back of my shoulder blade, or maybe somewhere in my hand or my arm, you don't even notice it. You're just going through your day, you don't even notice it. But when you're naked in the hot shower and you start scrubbing yourself, you go, wow, that's actually, I got an itch there. And you're scratching yourself. So by the time you're done, you've scratched all your itches. All right? The part that interests me is the subliminal part. That you can have this going on and not even be aware of it. All right? Which is probably good because you don't want to go through your day constantly feeling like you're itching. But it's this, I bring it up because it's the same with this kind of packing routine. So when we were talking about that, and I said, pay attention to your body, what I felt inside myself was the orbit of my right eye. And then I realized, oh, it's because my sinus here is plugged up, probably from tree pollen, all right? And so you don't even check in with yourself. You pay no attention. You just pay no attention to that. You just go through your day. But the truth is, I've got a little pain here and a little discomfort, and it's this sinus here is kind of plugged up. So when you're doing HUNYUAN Qigong, you should pay attention to things like that. Oh, okay. Wow, my sinus is kind of plugged up. Just being aware of that will bring energy into that part of the body. Because your awareness, your mind, and your energy are the front and back of the same coin. So this business about packing is important. Right? And then the lower dantian. So the lower dantian is right at the base of the spine, at the perineum. Right? So you come down all the way and then up and roll down into the dantian and then all the way down again and then up and roll down into the dantian and then down lower again. it's important when you do the lower Dan Chen, you should also feel the bottom of your feet. All right. When you do the upper Dan Chen, the sixth Dan Chen, you should also feel the crown chakra. All right? And you should feel the throat and even the heart. You feel everything in each position. You feel the entire center core. It's just a matter of degrees. I'm more aware of this, but I'm also aware of this up here. All right. Lower. So we do HUNYUAN Qigong and Gong and the other things as routines. So we'll have, 8, 12, 18, or excuse me, 9, 12, 18, sometimes 8 exercises, and we sort of try to do the whole thing. That's not necessarily the way they do it in China. In China, someone might get up to do a little HUNYUAN Qigong, and this is the only exercise they do, or it might be some different exercise. I don't know what it's like in China now, although I suspect everybody's in a Mercedes Benz and they're all driving around. But when I was in China, people were much more on their feet and on bicycles, and the people just walking down the street. Is very common. I mean, lots of people doing that. So it's a very common activity. I think I mentioned yesterday how old some of this stuff is. I mean, it literally goes back, 7, 8, 10,000 years, and I'm sure another 10,000 before that. And it survived into the modern world because they didn't have money. And since they didn't have money, they couldn't pay doctors. Most Chinese people lived out in the country, in little villages. And they didn't have much money and they didn't have doctors, so they had to take care of themselves. Qigong has roots that go all the way back because this was just human beings taking care of themselves, taking care of each other. And, the modern world kind of looks at that with questioning eyes. But the truth is it actually works. It works if you're willing to put the time in. It won't sew an arm back on that a tiger rips off. There's certain things that Western medicine does really well and that only Western medicine can do. But as far as keeping your body toned up, and especially what Qigong was for, was older people. Because the theory was very simple. Your parents give you a certain kind of energy. It's called Yuan Qi, your original Qi. And that's going to carry you through about to age 50. So it carries you through your childhood, for sure. Childhood from about 0 to 25. And then your years as a householder, having a family, doing a job, living in the big house, and you know all that stuff, about to age 50. And by that time, your yuan qi is kind of pretty well used up. Now you've got to supplement it with something. Well, what you supplement it with is cosmic qi. So you now begin the process of, most people start much earlier, but you begin the process of supplementing that every day just to keep your energy level up. Because if your energy level falls down, then that's when you get sick. Either with, you know, the flu or something much worse. So you keep your energy level up as high as you can, just because it's going to carry you forward. Watch my hand. Watch my hands. Watch both sides of my hands. You have a Lao Gong on each side. This is the inner Lao Gong here. It's not quite in the middle. It's a little bit up here, right? That's the inner Lao Gong, and that's the outer Lao Gong. When you open, you're using the outer Lao Gong. One way to think about them is their eyes, and it's looking ahead. It's guiding you outward, and now it's guiding you inward. But the hands themselves the wrists are very flexible. Grandmaster Feng, he wasn't speaking specifically of this exercise, but this exercise absolutely fits. He was speaking of the whole routine. It should be like swimming in the air. There's water here. You're in water. In other words, it's not a vacuum. So when you expand, you don't just expand. When you're practicing this, you can practice different things. And that's true for any of these exercises, but let's talk about this one. You can practice opening, in this case, opening to the edge of your skin. So you're essentially filling your body. It's a good practice. Or, as I said the other day, you can fill the universe. It just keeps going all the way out to the edge of the universe, and now all the way in to a singularity, to a single point. So, if you're like me, when you get up in the morning, especially after about age 65 or 70, you get up in the morning, oh, oh, you know, those joints are a little stiff. Oh, back is a little stiff, right? You feel kind of wonky, and I don't really feel like myself until I've had a cup of coffee. I've taken a hot shower and scrubbed my body, and I've done an hour of qigong. Then it's like, oh, okay, I'm here again. All right. It's different when you're 18, but when you're a little older, these little routines are really important. Annie and I were talking the other day about, you know, we're in the final quarter of our lives, right? So what do we want to do, et cetera, et cetera. And I just spontaneously said, you know, it's really important to both of us to continue the qigong practice every day. And one of the reasons I do this with you guys is so that I do it. Because if you guys are not here, I'll think of something else to do. And in my head, I'll say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Grandmaster Feng used to say, don't do that. Practice every day. Because if you don't practice tomorrow because you're too busy, and then you don't practice the next day because it's raining out, and then you don't practice the next day because it's sunny out, you don't have a practice. You just practice every morning, period. And one of the things that really helps motivate me to practice every day is teaching, is it gets me out to really do the practice. I'm sure that's one of the major reasons you guys do it, is when you practice with a group of people, it encourages you to keep practicing. You're in a community and practicing this. And I was always in community when I practiced with Master Zhang, for instance. It was a huge part of what we were doing. And what I realized when I was talking with Annie is, if I stopped practicing, I'm not sure I would ever start again. Because when you get older, it's really comfortable just to have that cup of coffee and sit there and watch the birds in the morning, etc., and then go do something. And you just start to forget about doing the practice. And, you know, 6 months might go by and a year might go by, and you don't have a practice anymore. So you just practice every day. And a really good way to do that is to teach other people. I really like the just opening to the edge of your skin, every part of the body. And then all the way to the edge of the universe. Edge of the skin. All the way out, fill the universe. edge of the skin. All right. Whole universe. Okay, any questions? Any comments?
Comments. I feel high like I've smoked weed, like
Catherine, I know exactly what you mean.
it's weird.
It's weird. It's because you're really oxygenating the whole body.
But it's not dizzy. I don't feel dizzy.
Yeah,
I feel high.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Like high
You,
without smoking. It's great.
you're oxygenating the whole body, including the brain, and this is what it feels like when you've got enough oxygen inside, right? When you're packing yourself, one way to think of it is you're packing oxygen into every part of the body and enlivening the body.
It's great.
Yes, good comment. And it's cheaper than pot. Okay, guys. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Ciao.